what did you learn when you spoke with the Electronic Privacy Information Center?
Khalia Barnes is the lead lawyer on the case. The Electronic Privacy Information Center is suing the Department of Education for making changes to privacy law. FERPA stands for Family Education Privacy Act. And she told me something really interesting that a lot of people don't realize about these alterations. It's not just children, it's not just students who are affected by this. When the Department of Education loosened the parental consent law, this affects adults. Because if an adult has ever attended a university that accepted federal funding, ever, it could have been years and years and years and years and years ago, without their consent, someone can watch their data. And I think that's unbelievable.
Wow. Do you have a link to their lawsuit that we could put on this for people to look at?
Yes, I do.
That's great. So EPIC is suing the Department of Education?
Right. They're suing them because the alterations that the department made without congressional approval have terrible impacts on student privacy. It's just unconscionable what they've done, but nobody's holding their feet to the fire. I talked to one of my congressmen about this, and he was interested, but I believe they're so busy fighting so many battles that they just don't have time to police every bad thing that the executive branch is doing. I love what Sharina Arrington said the other night on Glenn Beck. She said, they are off the chain, you know, like a mad dog. They are off the chain, and I agree.
Yes. Well, I think that's why it's so important that as people, we speak up, because I mean, you know, I have never been political before. And so this has been really eye-opening, especially just in our state of Utah, when we just recently ended the legislative session. The amount of bills that these legislators are supposed to not only look at, but make a judgment call on and vote. I mean, it's nearly impossible for them to really study it. I mean, look at how many hours we're putting into stuff, and for them, and this is just one issue. And for them, I think there were 100 education bills, and I didn't even see them all. And it's imperative that the people pay attention and speak up. And I am saying that as a previously uninformed citizen, because it's such a big job, and there are so many paid lobbyists there that have an agenda, that people just really need to speak up. It's not contentious.
So true. And people, I think this is really as much about courage and faith as it is about any other idea that we talk about, because if people understand that this is their children's futures that they're fighting for, and if they're afraid or shy, they're going to be sorry, because we need to really stand up and say, this is our country, this is our educational system, and we don't like the way it's going. We want it stopped.
Well, what would you say to people that feel like by speaking out you're just causing contention and causing problems and not trusting people and questioning their values? How do you
I would say that this country prides itself on freedom of speech, and we don't pride ourselves on consensus and everybody always agreeing on everything. That's ridiculous. We are a country that can intellectually analyze ideas and debate and talk and come up with a vote. You know, voter representation is what we are all about, but a lot of these things that are coming through the educational reforms are working outside of the American system of representation. There's no due process happening. It's just the voters aren't even being informed. Did you see Glenn Beck's face the other night when he said, oh, I was under the impression that the legislatures, you know, adopted this, and all four of the guests on the show went, no,
yeah.
no.
I didn't see his face, but I think I've been thinking about that statement, and there's a couple things. So first of all, the Race to the Top grant was approved through Congress through the stimulus bill. So I wonder if that's where he's coming from. And I really think that we need to ask Glenn Beck to hold the national leaders' feet to the fire, because the president is still issuing money from the stimulus bill. He has more plans. We haven't spent it all yet. Race to the Top, some of these things that we're fighting currently are just the beginning of his education plans. I love education. You know that. You love education. We're not trying to fight against education. We're trying to fight for our children
Right.
to have the very best education they possibly can have. And